Hello, welcome back to CSES Tech Talks. Today I'm joined by Stephane. So can we start by having you kind of introduce yourself and tell us a bit about your background?
Yeah, sure. So I'm Stefan. Forget about my name. It's French. You don't need to pronounce it. I actually live in Switzerland, but in the French-speaking part of Switzerland. I am the co-founder of Kiwix. My actual background actually has nothing to do with software. I did a master's degree, almost a PhD, but I gave up because I was bored out of my mind in structural biochemistry at McGill University in Canada. And then I did another master's in political sciences in Geneva. I then went on to work for Big Tobacco, of all places, and then moved on and became the head of Wikimedia Switzerland, which is the local chapter for all Wikipedia things in the country. And that's when my now co-founder, Emmanuel, came to me saying, hey, we're paying for services, for servers to host that program Kiwix, which I'm doing like on the side on the weekend, like very much as a side project. And I was like, yeah, but I need some metrics to see what's up with that so that we can keep on funding it because it's donors' money. So you need to have some sort of accountability. And he said, oh, yeah, we nearly have 1 million downloads this year. So I was like, okay, we need to talk. So that's when we started Kiwix as a independent organization. So we had the product before we had the company or the nonprofit, which is usually the other way around. And it's been 8 years now and we're happy. We're now 10 people, about 1 million lines of code, and 12 to 15 million users, I would say.
And can you give us some more details on like what is Kiwix, what the vision is, what problem it's trying to solve?
Yeah. So basically, the vision is that anyone should have access to education for free. So this drives the fact that there is a free software, and you don't need to pay to use Kiwix. It's free to use, free to share, to distribute, free to look into the code in order for freedoms of free software. And what it does concretely is that there's actually two steps. There's the OpenZIM format, and then there's Kiwix as a reader. So OpenZIM is a way to convert a website into a downloadable archive, highly compressed, that you can then read on the fly with the Kiwix browser. So to give you a concrete example, you can get the entirety of Wikipedia in English, 7 million entries plus images and yada yada, downloaded and stored on your phone, and you just open it and you can read Wikipedia no matter where you are. And that's the value proposition. That's how we started. Now we can do actually pretty much any website. I mean, Facebook, Twitter wouldn't make any sense because, they're like what happens like 2 hours ago was already stale. But in terms of education, like, history, geography, they don't really change that much. So it's really worth it for people that are disconnected to still have access to those resources. We also do Stack Overflow, Gutenberg library, YouTube videos, like tons of YouTube videos for learning. So it's very much like that angle of education. So we bring education for free to whoever should not be able to access it.
And here at CSES, we have a big one branch of ours is CSES open source, and we care a lot about open source. So how important is open source to Kiwix's vision?
So to us, it is central. We are an open source project with all the good and the bad. The good is like, we get people that we never talked with or talked to that are using our product, and we're super stoked because seeing where we work, it's quickly very rewarding to see who's using our product. I mean, when we started, we were working with USAID that was in Mali in West Africa. And so, yeah, that's how we started. But then suddenly I get in the news that someone is distributing Kiwix and Wikipedia in Korean to North Koreans. They were actually smuggling the Wikipedia there just so that people could have a view of what's happening in the world. And then you find out other stories like people being on boats, in refugee camps in the Middle East, in Antarctica, even in the US at Sandia National Labs, where they actually test nuclear weapons. And this is possible. All those cool stories are possible because this is free software. Those are people who will never even think of reaching out. We don't have the means to reach out, but they happen because this is free software. So it is really important because it is our mission to bring knowledge to whoever needs it, no matter what. I'm not judging whether they are in New Mexico or in the Philippines. They need it, and we're there. That's the mission. So that is really cool. The other thing is that it makes our life a lot easier in terms of improving the software. It is a lot of work because Kiwix is available on computers like desktop, Windows, Linux, and Mac, but also on mobile devices and servers. And we would not be able to do it alone. So having a pool of people willing to help, if it's just for like, solving an issue, making a PR, or just bringing ideas or scouting for new content, it is great. It is awesome. So that's very much like it would not happen if it was not free software.
And what advice would you have for students who want to get involved, especially in QX, but just open source in general?
Don't be impressed. A lot of people coming here is like, I'm new to open source. What should I do? And I'm like, anything you would do if you were a developer, which is identify an issue, code your commit, any solution you'd like to have, maybe discuss with people, just make sure that your approach is right, make a pull request, then it gets merged. And I don't think it is like significantly different from any other job that is not open source. Like it's exactly the same process. The only thing that is different though is that you're basically very much not being told what you should do. It is you are the owner of your own ship. You do what you like, you do what you want, but then it also allows others to say, look, I don't owe you anything. If your PR is shit, I'm not going to merge it. And so you need to be a lot more, I would say it is a bigger jump into adult life or professional life because you need to be able to explain your choices, your design choices, your technical choices, and you need to be able to hold your own and say, yeah, I'm doing this because that. And then you need to have that self-confidence that says, look, my code works, it compiles, so I'm going to push, and I'm not waiting for my boss that says, hey, this is Friday morning, you need to push and merge into, okay, nobody pushes on Friday, but you need to merge. So it's really like you learn to be independent, which I think is a good goal.
And specifically focusing now on Google Summer of Code. So QX participates in Google Summer of Code. Can you kind of give an overview of what that is?
Yeah. So the Google Summer of Code is honestly the best thing that has happened to the open source world because it is a great, great, great system to get people into open source and to get actually very competent people there. And for the open source community, it brings visibility. I mean, like anyone that is a student and has, I did a Google internship somewhere on their CV, it's a win-win for everyone. So we actually get good people, and the people we get actually get a good line on the CV, on their resume. So they do good, they learn a lot, and we get some good coding, so everyone's happy. Um, Concretely, what it does is that you have a bunch of open source organizations that apply to Google and say, okay, we do this and that. Google says, okay, fine. Um, what's your list of projects? We say, okay, we have like 2, 5, 10 projects and room to mentor 2, 5, 10 students. And then Google says, okay, I got budget for you. We'll pay for 3 students for you this year. And then that's when the Google's Summer of Code actually opens to the public. Students come to us, they apply. I mean, they do their pull request. So I'm talking from experience from Kiwix, but I would say 99% of the organizations that participate in Google Summer of Code are not looking at your CV because it's worldwide. So honestly, we had folks coming from universities. I didn't even know the city existed. So, and they probably were good universities where they lived, but like it's not where I live. So they're judged on the merit, they are judged on the PRs they pull, and then you know that the people that are coming to you are good. So that's how we get actually very, very good candidates. And after that selection period, then we chat between ourselves. And the interesting part is that overall, I would say it's very much like a bell curve of like, lousy, lazy candidates that do it because they were told to. Then there's the middle branch that are like they're here, but they're not too sure what they were supposed to do. And then there are the people that get it. And those that get it, you see it immediately. And it's not hard to get it. Honestly, it is. Every year, I'm telling prospective candidates, in order to get it, you need to read those 5 paragraphs that say, we don't care about your CV, we want to see your pull request, and they have to make sense. So that's actually 3 paragraphs, and you can summarize in 3 sentences. So it's really, really easy if you kind of know what is being expected on the other side. I think a lot of the problem people have is yeah, not being too sure I mean, being junior in a sense, like you're not 100% sure what's being expected of you. But once you actually get it, that's when you're ready to jump, and it's actually super easy to shine.
This next question is a bit more of a personal one, but what's kind of the difference between like leading a nonprofit and working in the nonprofit sector versus a for-profit tech company?
So I did work for a for-profit. Um, it was great. I would say, so I'm the boss of Kiwix. I'm the only person that is, I mean, not the only person, but the senior person that does not code. So my life is a lot more complicated, as in I have to do everything else. If you work for a for-profit company, the good news is that you actually are allowed to lose money. Like a for-profit company can have its numbers go in the red, actually lose money for a year because I don't know, life happens. If you're a non-profit, at least in Switzerland, you can't go in the red. If you lose money, you're dead. So you need to make sure that you're always above water, which is an interesting challenge. I mean, it does make sense to some extent, but you can never slack off. So that's the hard part. The other part is that you get, I mean, you see this in for-profit as well. But I would say the problem with nonprofit is that you have a lot of people that try to compensate competence with goodwill or enthusiasm, which is great. I love enthusiastic people, but having gone through the for-profit part, I know that at some point you need to call it quits and move on. You're not good at that. And maybe in the nonprofit sector, you got too many people that have a big heart, but you know, they will burn. It's not that they are bad, it's just that it will eat at you because work never stops. And so in the for-profit world, it's easier to say, okay, I'm doing my 9 to 5, and then I can go home. In the non-profit world, you usually have a mission, and you're like, oh, if I go to sleep or if I stop to eat, then someone will die, which is probably true. But let's be realistic. If you die too, that's not going to solve the problem, and it's eating a lot of people. So that's the hard part, like, getting confusing the mission and your purpose in life. And in for profit, I used to work for tobacco, so as I said, and that was not my mission in life to get people to smoke. It was just a job. It was a good job, but still was a job.
Mhm.
Just one word, actually, if any of you wants to join Kiwix or is looking for Google Summer of Code, I highly recommend it. It's a great learning experience. You go to GitHub, you look for good first issues that will get you an idea of the code base and what we're looking at. And I think it's important at this stage to take a step back and try the product actually. See how it works and what it tries to do, because then it gives you ideas on what we're trying to achieve. If you look at one ticket, okay, it's a problem you try to solve, but it gives you limited, like from the mentor's point of view, will be like, okay, it's good, she's good, but she has no idea what she's doing. And also the second thing I want to warn you against is that AI coding is a thing, and we can see it from 200 miles away, and you will not be given a second chance. So anyone who's thinking of, like, vibe coding their Google Summer of Code can just, pack their bags and go on vacation. It's not going to happen. So those are my 2 pieces of advice.
Yeah. Thank you very much, Stephane.
Thanks to you, and have a great day.